This is the fastest and easiest way to become a genius. All you need is to know what type of genius you want to become, learn from the best in that field, and put all the knowledge you've gained into practice. By following these simple steps, you will go from an ordinary person to a genius. But before anything else, you need to understand what a genius really is. Most people think a genius is just someone who invents extremely complex things, like Einstein with the theory of relativity or Mozart with the incredible music he created as a child. But the truth is that being a genius goes far beyond that. It's not just about IQ, test, or an inborn talent someone is born with. Being a genius is about having a unique vision of the world, knowing how to connect the pieces that no one else sees, and using that to create something new or solve a problem in a way no one else would think of. And this can happen in any area of life, whether in science, art, sports, business, or even in the way you interact with people. There are plenty of geniuses out there who never won a Nobel Prize but still transformed their own lives and the lives of those around them. And that's the main idea. A genius isn't just someone who discovers a cure for diseases or invents new technologies. It's someone who finds a unique way to solve things. And that's something anyone can develop. But don't think there's only one type of genius. The media and movies love to portray geniuses as that weird guy who lives alone, locked in a lab, creating crazy inventions. But the truth is, there are many types of geniuses, and you might fit into one of them. The most well-known is the intellectual genius, the one who excels in theoretical concepts, understanding what no one else does, and solving problems that seem impossible. Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, and even Marie Curie are examples of this type of genius. They see the world in a completely different way, recognizing patterns, solutions, and ideas that no one else can. But being an intellectual genius isn't just about being good at math or physics. It's about having a sharp and curious mind that's always trying to understand the why and the how of things. If you love taking things apart to see how they work, or if you're the kind of person who becomes obsessed with finding the answer to a question, then you have traits of this type of genius. We also have people who can see art in everything. They are known as creative geniuses, and they have the ability to transform an idea or a complex concept into something that moves people emotionally. Leonardo da Vinci, Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, and Tarantino are examples of creative geniuses. They see the world differently and find innovative ways to express it. But being creative doesn't just mean painting pictures or making movies. It can be in anything where you use your imagination to create something new. Another rare type of genius is the emotional genius. This is someone with an extraordinary level of emotional intelligence. They deeply understand people, read their emotions, predict their behaviors, and use this ability to build powerful connections. A great example is Martin Luther King, who had an incredible ability to move people with his words and inspire millions through his communication. If you find it easy to connect with others, understand their emotions, and help people, you can be sure that you have a strong trait of this type of genius. And believe me, in today's world, being an emotional genius can take you far. We also have the entrepreneurial genius. This is the person who looks at the world and sees opportunities where no one else does. This type of genius builds businesses and turns ideas into empires. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all of these guys have a unique entrepreneurial vision. They can sense what the market wants even before the market itself realizes it. If you think strategically and solve everyday problems with creativity, you might be an entrepreneurial genius or a practical genius. You know that friend who always finds a simple way to fix any problem? That's a practical genius. Thomas Edison was one of them. He wasn't the most theoretical guy, but he knew how to turn ideas into useful things that change people's lives. If you can simplify things and find solutions where others only see problems, you have a bit of this practical genius in you. Now that you know there are different types of genius, you need to figure out which one fits you best. To do that, you have to find the balance between talent, passion, and profitability. The balance of these three will give you an extraordinary life, something that only a few people in this world have the privilege of experiencing. Unlike what most people think, a genius isn't someone who is good at everything. It's someone who is exceptional at one specific thing, something they dedicated themselves to mastering. Once you choose which type of genius you want to become, you can focus all your energy on it and speed up the process. One of the fastest ways to become a genius is by learning from the best. If you want to be great at something, you need to study those who have already mastered it. This will save you a lot of time. It's obvious, yet most people don't do it. They spend years trying on their own, without realizing that they could learn way faster from someone who has already been through it all. For example, if you want to be a great writer, it makes perfect sense to study the best writers of all time to understand how they became geniuses at it. This tip applies to any area of your life that you want to improve. You just need to study the best and identify what they all have in common. How did they start? What did they do right or wrong? How did they overcome challenges? In short, learn everything you can about them. Many of these geniuses left their footprints in history through books, documentaries, videos, and interviews, showing the path they took to achieve genius. This is a goldmine for anyone who wants to learn. One of the best things you can do in your life is to consume the content these people created. Every lesson you learn in this process can save you years of trial and error. You can find a mentor to speed up your journey to becoming a genius. A mentor is someone who has already achieved what you want, and they can guide you along the way. Since they've been through the process themselves, they know exactly how to lead you on the best path. They will give you valuable advice, warn you about pitfalls, and push you beyond your limits. Sometimes one single piece of advice from a mentor can save you months or even years of trial and error. And that is incredibly powerful. If you don't have a mentor yet, don't worry. Today, the world is full of mentors that you can access through books, documentaries, videos, and interviews. All of this can put you in direct contact with the brightest minds on the planet. After learning something new, you need to put that knowledge into practice. Because studying a lot is useless if you don't use what you've learned. You need to understand that true learning only happens when you take action and apply that knowledge. That's what will make you a genius. Many people only focus on learning as much as possible, but they don't apply it. And when you don't use what you learn, that knowledge becomes useless. For what you study to make a difference in your life, you need to practice it until it becomes natural. Studying is important because it gives you the foundation to act in the best way possible and helps you save a lot of time. It's basically like a manual for you to follow. For example, if you have a car but don't know how to drive, it will take you a long time to learn on your own. But if you've already studied everything about the car, learning to drive will be much faster and easier because you already know the path you need to follow. That's why you should start using what you've learned as soon as possible. Studies show that when we put what we learn into practice, our learning improves by up to 80%. In other words, what is practiced stays in your mind, and you hardly ever forget it. To sum up, studying is very important, but practicing is what will turn you into a genius. The truth is that geniuses don't come out of nowhere, they build their own greatness, and you can build yours too. It's something that depends only on you.